Two new starter decks just dropped, ST-07 Celestial Drive and ST-08 Flash of Radiance. I'm going to tell you what's worth keeping, what's going to get cut, and how to proceed forward so you don't waste your time. If you're new to the channel, name's Zero Style, I'm competitive minded, but I like to keep it practical. Today we're going to talk about the game plan of each deck in plain English, key cards you're going to keep long term, and the cards that left you get chopped out to the trash. Both starter decks come with ready to play 50 card decks, 10 resources, 2 tokens, bonus pack that hopefully has a juicy hit in it for you. The decks themselves are built on a specific theme, so we're not judging them on random piles, but more so on the actual foundations and how they'll see play. So let's get into it. Alright, so ST-07's a mid-range control into a finisher kind of playstyle. You build a paired board, stabilize, and then you slam the door whenever you have the game in your hand. It's themed around Gundam 00, Celestial Being, Link style play. This deck is not more of a jam units down your throat, but more of a build big units by pairing pilots and use your turns wildly better whenever you're pairing correctly. Here's the real practical tip. If your opener does not have any pilots, you should seriously consider a redraw, because pilot access matters that much for this deck's plan. It's a little bit of a different deck because it's got 4 pilots, 3 of each, which just kind of goes to show that this one is designed really about making those pairs or those links happen and then smashing the opponent whenever you have a big beefy unit in the middle of the game more so. So we'll start off by looking at our LRs here. You can see, 2 of each, Gundam Exia, Gundam Dynamis. If you're going to want to play this archetype, you're probably going to want to get 2 of these decks. Gundam Exia is probably the bread and butter of this, just because, if you have 7 or more CB units in your trash, you get to restand a resource, and then when paired, you get to draw a card if you mill 2 off the top, which helps you kind of filter through your cards. And then, of course, whenever it links up with its pilot, it does a lot. Dynamis, on the other hand, is kind of your mid-range bully. As you can see, during a turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit, it has Prepare 2 essentially, and then during Link it gets +2. Links with lock on, and you'll kind of see that this can turn into a very beefy unit in a hurry, and it's only turn 4, 3 cost, so it's a big boy. And yeah, so we'll get into the rest of the cards here, starting with the vanilla Gundam Exia. This card is essentially a new version of Rizel. If anyone's familiar with that card, blue card, level 4, 2 cost, 4, 3. Same idea. I feel like this can get play by just simply replacing it in the purple-blue decks for people who want to use purple-blue and not have to fish out a Rizel from the older set. The next card is Gundam Virtue. Again, 5-3 with a 5-4 body. This is just a big guy, and it comes out early. So I feel like this is going to have a place in the deck, just by the sheer power that it can bring. Having a 5 attack that only costs 3 is pretty impressive. Even though it is a level 5, it's still at a good point in the middle of the game. This Gundam Virtue, on the other hand, I don't necessarily think there's a place in the archetype for this. The idea here is that if you have another CB pilot in play, this unit gains blocker. 3-2, 3-3, so it basically becomes a Rick Diaz, but it's got an additional condition. While it may be cool in a situation where it's like you're not running a blocker archetype to be able to get a blocker, I just don't think that this is going to have any sticking power. But time will tell. We'll see. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say no, but we'll see. Moving on to the next card is Gundam Dynamis. 3-2 with a 3-3 body. This card really doesn't matter all that much. The only reason why this would stay in the deck is because there's nothing better to take its place that links with lock on. Really is it. As you know, this one has a place in the archetype, Gundam Curious, because as you can see, it gains +2 when you have a CB pilot in play, which is something that's like kind of the whole deck is built around, so it just makes sense to kind of hang on to this, and it's low enough that you can get this out early and do some real damage with it. Now the flight mode, on the other hand, I'm not very high on. 2-2 with a 3-1 body, high attack, but it can die to literally a breeze. I think this is probably going to end up getting cut from the deck, and it's just kind of filler at this point. But yeah, we'll see. be some crazy aggro play that you can use this in, because it's, you know, low enough to the ground that you get it out and it does big damage. But yeah, I just really don't see it. This get pinged by a gun tank. Now going over the pilots here, so we'll start with Setsuna FCA. I mean, this is going to be a staple just because, again, like, he links up with this guy here, which is like your staple. So, you know, the effect here is, you know, attack, this unit gets +1 AP during the turn. If you have 7 or more CB cards in your trash, all CB units get +1. So, I mean, that's insane, to say the least. So you get 3 of those in the deck. Again, you're going to want to probably get 2 of these decks just so you have them. You have the set, you'll have more than what you're looking for, but that's fine. Whatever you're looking at and looking for, kind of thing. Tierra, destroyed. If it is your opponent's turn, and this is a CB unit, draw 1 card. So this is just a way to help you draw whenever you do lose a unit. Kind of replace itself later on. Again, 3 of those. You're going to want 2 of them. Lock on Stratos, which pairs with your Dynamis. You're looking at, now when paired, if this is a CB unit, it may choose an active enemy unit whose level is equal or lower than this unit and attack the target during that turn. So this also applies to standing units. So if you put this in your, you know, Dynamis, then you could attack anything that's 4 or lower, even if it's standing up. Put this in your Exia, because again, CB unit, it's only 1 paired, and it gives +1/+2. So that's crazy. So if you were to link that up with your, you know, Dynamis here, you would get a 5/6. Is that right? Yeah, 5/6 on turn 4 potentially. That's a big body for turn 4. So you get 3 of those, and then obviously here the last pilot is Alleluia Haptism, which during your turn, while you have a CB link unit in play, this unit can't receive battle damage from enemy units with 3 or less AP. So you get 3 of those. We will talk about that later on, but this deck here, this archetype, is believed to be the death knell for aggro, and we will go over that later on in this video here. So we'll go over the commands. So we got armed intervention, you know, burst, draw 1 card, easy. And then action is choose 1 rested friendly CB unit, change the attack target of the battling enemy unit to it. So you get 2 of those. I'm conflicted on that one because it's either going to be absolutely insane or it's going to be junk, and there's going to be no in between. I feel like in cases where, you know, you're late game, and you're trying to keep things alive, it's going to be really, really good. But I feel like it may very well just end up being a dud. It might read a lot better than it actually plays, if you know what I'm saying. So the jury's going to be out on that one. I've heard both sides where people think that's going to be absolutely trash. I've heard sides that think that's going to be incredible. So that is Armed Intervention. Cool art on it. Next card up here is Tactical Visionary. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal 1 CB unit, card, or pilot among them and add it to your hand. Return the remaining cards randomly to the bottom of your deck. Similar situation there. I'm not really too sure how I feel about that one. It's good in the sense that it's, you know, 1 cost, level 1, you can play that whenever. I guess it does let you, you know, scry, as they refer. So I think that does see play. I think that ends up sticking around. You get 4 of them, so you're good to go on that one with just 1 deck. Again, I kind of feel like that's going to be the same as like Path to Victory and Defeat, where it's great whenever it's great, and then whenever you can't find what you're looking for, it's going to feel absolutely terrible. So now is the time where we talk about the death knell to potentially aggro here, and it kind of comes off of this base. So a 2/1 with 0 and 5, obviously, so it's a 5 health base. Burst is deploy this card, easy enough. And then add 1 shield to your hand when it deploys. By this, add 1 shield to your hand. While a rested friendly CB unit is in play, this base can't receive damage from enemy units that are level 3 or lower, other than unit tokens. So the idea here is that this is actually going to potentially wreak havoc on aggro, because the idea is you have a bunch of low cost units yourself that are big bodies. All you need is 1 friendly CB unit, and then your base can't take damage from the little dudes, which the entire playstyle of aggro is just like death by 1,000 cuts. It's like Zerg Rush, whatever you want to call it. So by the time they get through all your stuff, they're not going to have anything left to get to this base. So I think, you know, you're going to get 4 in this. This is 100%, without a doubt, a staple, and it might actually end up in it finding itself in other blue or blue-purple, basically, but it might find itself in other purple decks just because it's insane. Possibly the best card in this actual deck. So yeah, and then obviously we have 2 Fatal Strikes, which again, you know, these are a staple. These were in the IBO deck, and they were so sought after that I think they were like an $8 common on the aftermarket. So these existing as reissues is only going to help that get better and make them a little bit more available. Cool art on it. So yeah, you're going to be sticking with these, and again, you're going to want 4 of these likely in your deck if you're going to play purple, in any purple archetype, but specifically this one, you're going to want 4 of them. So you're just going to get them, and obviously you get your EX base and your tokens. Alright, so as for the chopping block, we need to kind of ask ourselves here the honest question. You know, does this help me, 1, find pilots or CB pieces, 2, win a mid-game fight, or protect my finish? The reality of this is, you know, most starter decks, some cards exist to just teach the rules, and to just only teach the rules, and not win locals. So if it doesn't do one of those things, it's probably a prime candidate to get cut. So that's why, you know, first thing that comes to mind here is going to be our Gundam Carrier's Flight Form. I say that's probably your first card that's going to be chopped off this deck and replaced with something better, just because, like I said, while it is a low cost, you know, it's a 2-2-3-1, it only has 1 HP, so it can get popped immediately. You might not even get a chance to swing with it because you could get pinged before you even get a chance to put a pilot on it. So I'd say this is probably a case where it does get chopped. That being said, in like some sort of like extreme aggro situation, like where you're going to be able to pair it, I think you're probably in a situation where you might run this, but I would say 9 times out of 10 this card is getting cut. The next one here is the Gundam Virtue, and while I said like this is basically a Rick Diaz, it does have kind of the caveat of where you need to have another card in play. So while like you may have that, I think if you're really looking to have a blocker that's 3/3, you would just play Rick Diaz instead of playing this card, and your deck would be vastly different than what it is. I think if you're looking to build up a bigger wall defense, you're probably playing a different archetype at this point. So I would say that this is probably going to end up cutting off from the deck, but obviously I've been wrong before, and meta kind of dictates itself in this interesting way sometimes. So we'll have to kind of see on that one, but I would say that one gets cut. Next one I think is getting cut is Tierra, just because it's the entire idea is that, you know, it's got to be killed on your opponent's turn to be able to draw a card, and it's got to be in a CB unit. So like there's a lot of conditions just to get one card, and it's only a 1/1 for a pilot, which probably better pilots out there at the very least, especially if you don't have anything that you're really going to try to link with it. So I know, let me know if you disagree, but if you disagree, then you know, tell me why you think so. But I think this one just ends up getting chopped off and replaced with something else. I kind of think you end up splitting these 2 colors out, but if you're really diehard on playing, you know, green and purple, then you're probably pulling this out and trying to run more of the actual good pilots that come with this deck. So the next card that I think is probably getting chopped off here is Tactical Visionary. Kind of the point that I said, it reminds me a lot of Path to Victory and Defeat, which, I mean, sometimes you're just on the path, man. Like, you're on the path looking for something and you can't get anything, can't find something that you're looking for, and you're just rough, man. And I think that's a problem with that type of card, especially if, you know, generally speaking, when you are playing it, you need it. Like, you need to find something that's good. So yeah, I think this card probably ends up getting pulled out. Some people will play it, but I don't think many will play it. And last, like I said, I'm very much unsure about this card here. I think you may end up actually pulling this card out. Just because, again, like the delta on the value of this is like so extreme. I mean, obviously, if you get a burst off it and you have to draw a card, that's cool. But, you know, you may not necessarily get good value just by playing this card and like run into something else. Maybe it's a case where it's like if you weren't running purple green, which, like, from my standpoint, like, I'm kind of looking at it at that slant, it probably doesn't have the value that you'd like. If it's a case where, like, you have some sort of crazy cook and it's like you're running purple white and you know, drop an nail strike with a Kira, you use it to kill something, now it's rested but you still need to block, you can play it and run it into your, run that thing that's attacking into it. Oh, you can actually, jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I guess we'll have to see, but I feel like this is only good if you have like a really big body out, and I think the deck type is very much like mid-range. So while your units are an okay size, you never have that big bad guy with, like, you know, 6, 7, 8 health, you know, that's just able to soak up a bunch of damage. So I don't know. I really don't know if how well this will go, but I would say, like, this is probably a candidate to getting chopped off. If you want, you know, we can revisit this whenever the meta kind of shakes out a little bit, and we can kind of go over, you know, what cards end up getting cut and which ones didn't in the long run, which ones saw play and other deck types. We can kind of go over that later on. If you'd like to see it, let me know in the comments. Alright, and ST-08, it can be best summed up as red is pressure and blue is stability. So you punish the boards, try to out-temper them with effective mid-range units. Your headline units here are going to be your G Gundam, which is, like, I guess, like the Hathaway Gundam. You know, while you have no units that are level 6 or higher in play, this card in your hand is minus level 1 and costs 1 less for each enemy unit in play. And then when paired, you choose 1 unit with highest level and, you know, deal 3 damage to it. So yeah, I think you're gonna end up playing this, but I kind of think whenever you are running this card, if you're in a situation where you're getting like crazy value on this, then it might be maybe scary in the sense that you may be already like lost. So we'll see. But I think it's going to be a staple for the deck just because, you know, it's got the ping. That ping is going to be helpful. Penelope here is something that I think is to be watched. Just because, you know, okay, during pair, when you attack once per turn, if this unit is attacking an enemy player, reveal 1 Earth Federation unit card, send it to the bottom of your deck, and then draw 2 cards. I think that is going to be very valuable for some sort of Earth Federation deck, just because you're going to have the ability to, like, you know, put some cards, you know, maybe not so great in your hand whenever you're playing that, and you're going to be able to draw 2 cards. So you're going to have the option of, like, especially like if you have this out for more than one turn, you can play that card, and you can, attack just with draw, attack, just to see what you're gonna do. Like if you have a card, like you could draw a card that's not very good, go at the bottom, or you have a card that's just junk in your hand. I think there's some value there. We'll get into the rest of the cards here. So Siege Ploy, this is a reprint of the card that was in ST-02. The idea is that, activate main. It's an action as well. Choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. 1 cost. The burst just to activate the thing. We'll see. That's all I can say is we will see on that one. It didn't get played before, so I don't know if it'll get played now. Maybe with a different graphic, everyone will be like, that's cool, but I don't know. So your common G Gundam, pretty straightforward. It's a 4/4. That's a level 5/4 cost. Choose an enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. So it's kind of like a Kshatriya, but not really. You get 4 of them. Probably hanging on to that. So this is interesting because I don't know if this will necessarily end up sticking around in this deck, but this is basically a red Rizal. So you might see this deck land in some ridiculous red-blue aggro monstrosity where it's they play Rizal and this, so it's on your turn 4 you can play this and Rizal and have 2 4/3s. So yeah, you get 3 of them there. We'll see. I'm not super hopeful, but yeah, we'll see. Mesotype F01. So when you attack this unit, if this unit's attacking an enemy unit, choose 1 enemy and deal 1 damage to it. So it's kind of got the Marita Cruz effect. Problem is it's only got 1 HP. So if you're mirroring this deck with this, you could technically get pinged and lose it. So you get 4 of them there. F02. This is actually probably a better Rizal. It's 3 with 2. So this probably ended up playing just because that's a big body for that little. Your vanilla Penelope. Again, this could be a situation where it's a 5/4, but level 5/3 cost. That's pretty big. And then you play lane aim with it. Potentially get time maneuver. That's it could be a big body to have to deal with. Pearl type 00. While you have 3 or more units in play, you gain blocker. Similar to the Virtue in the other deck, I don't know if this is gonna stick or not. It's kind of cool to get a blocker while also not having to run a blocker deck, if that makes sense. But I feel if there's a situation where you have 3 or more enemy units in play, and you need to play this card to be a blocker, it's probably too late. This doesn't necessarily mean that they have 3 or more units than you, just 3 or more units in general. So you could have maybe 5 units and then you have this, and it's just salt in the wound. But I really don't think that we're gonna see a lot of this. And you get 4 of them. Dragon Ground type Manhunter. Deploy, choose 1 rested enemy unit with 2 or lower. Level 2 or lower, it won't be set as active during the start phase of your opponent's next turn. So this is interesting because anyone who might have played other Bandai games such as Dragon Ball Fusion World, this is an entire color based ability where it's basically yellow is the control spec, and they have the ability to make it so you can't stand your guys up after they've been rested. So while this is a unit, you likely play this as an action, or at least try to play an action, but again, it's only 2. like a level 2 or lower. So it's nothing too crazy. We'll talk about it more later, but you can kind of get the idea that it's probably going to be on the chopping block. So now for pilots. This one's a little lighter on the pilots, just because we're in a situation where, you know, the other deck has 150 pilots, it feels like, and this one maybe not so much. So yeah, Hathaway Noah, when paired, if this is an MAFTA unit, choose one of your MAFTA units. During this turn, it may choose a damaged active unit and attack the target. Alright, okay, I see. So basically you have this ability to like possibly stand up. So like you could play these, and it will then, you know, this would be a 7/6, and we would be in a situation where like you could ping something and attack it when it's standing up. I mean, that's kind of cool. So yeah, you get 4 of those, which is like standard for most starter decks. It's kind of an anomaly that the other one gives you 3 of each, but hey. And then lane aim, kind of like I talked about, that when you draw with an effect, if this is a blue unit, it gains high maneuver during the turn. So I've actually seen this play on Mobile Suit Arena a few times, and it's been like a white-blue scenario where like they will use like overflowing affection with this out, and then there's something they pair it, and it will have you know, high maneuver, and it really sets the tempo, because high maneuver can be scary, especially in like a mid to early game. So yeah, say that one's probably sticking around. And it also triggers off of the Penelope effect too, so it's kind of double dips there. A lot of ways for them to make that trigger, so I'd say it's definitely a staple. Words of Hathaway, it's a command. You know, choose one friendly link unit. It gains breach 1 during the turn. It also kind of works as like a pilot too, which is just a 1/0. Probably never gets used as a pilot unless you're like desperate and really need to kill something. This one, it's yeah, I would say it's probably, we'll talk about it later on, but again, I'm showing my hand here. It's probably going to end up getting chopped off here. So Lady Luck, it's a main and action. Choose one enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. If a friendly MAFTA link unit is in play, deal 2 damage instead. That's cool. 1 cost. It's level 5, so it's not as like early as close combat, but again, you can think of like, you know, use that with you know, let's say you pair something with Noah. Where are we at here? Where's my friend Noah here? So yeah, let's say you pair something with this guy and you need a quick ping. Well, right here, and then you can attack it while standing up. That's cool. So you have 3. Valiant, so this is the base. Again, they're really big on the level 2, which I like. Getting early bases helps. So yeah, obviously, when it bursts, it deploys the card, and then when you deploy, add 1 shield to your hand, standard stuff, then choose 1 of your units, and it gains AP 2 for the turn. So it's kind of like Bucella's. Yeah, it's kind of like that base. Just instead of having to rest it, you get it when you play it, so you get it once. So it's a little bit worse, but again, you play it sooner. And then, yeah, Davio. Anyway, yeah, so you burst to deploy this, standard stuff. Add 1 shield to your hand, then activate main. You tap 2, and you can choose 1 of your units, and it recovers 2 HP. So you get 2 of those. So if you want 4 of them, you'll have to probably, and there's obviously your tokens. Yeah, so if you want 4 of those, you're probably going to need to get 2 decks. And, you know, it very well could see play. It may not see play in this deck in particular, but I could see there's like probably a world where it's, you know, maybe you're running a bunch of, like, you're running Freedom Blockers and you aren't running Archangel for whatever reason. So yeah. Alright, so to the surprise of nobody, my first card that's going to be on the chopping block is Siege Ploy. Like I said, like, this was in ST-02. It hasn't seen play since it released, basically. Every now and then you'll see it pop up on Mobile Suit Arena, and it'll be like an absolute meme. But yeah, I just think it's not gonna have a place in this game. I think it kind of sucks, if I'm being honest with you. Speaking of sucking, Measure Type F-Zero, while I think it's like kind of cool that you get to ping something so early, I think the fact that it's a 1 health is problematic. I think like it's just not gonna live long enough. Doesn't matter like if it can kill one thing, and maybe that's like all you need it to do, but I just don't think that it's worth having in the deck. 'Cause I think there's better things that can ping that are, you know, not gonna die to a ping. Pearl Type 00 is another situation where I think, you know, I don't think you necessarily use this. There's better 3/3 cards probably to play, or like maybe it's a case where it's like you just would take this out and put a 4/3 in, so it's the same cost, you just gotta wait a turn. I don't know, but I just don't think that like the benefit of being able to have a blocker in a deck that doesn't probably want blockers is probably redundant. And maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, we can hash this out in the comments if you want to tell me how wrong I am. I'm open to hear it, but yeah, we'll see. The next card here is, again, like I've kind of showed my hand on these when we were going through them, but yeah, like I'll just call this one Manhunter. But yeah, I don't like. Okay, great. You're gonna have this card that is, you know, level 2 or lower, and it can't be stood up again. Great. This basically only affects like aggro decks, and most times like they just don't really. Okay, great. You go 1 turn without getting a Zaku attack. I don't know. I don't see it. I think there's way better cards. And of course, you know, Words of Hathaway. I don't see this really either. Breach 1 is cool, but like there's better red commands to play that won't give you breach, but will give you better effects. So I don't know. I don't see this one as well. I would say this one gets cut as well. Yeah, that's basically it for the chopping block. I think, you know, I kind of think that you know, the same idea. You got to ask yourself these questions: does this card help me pressure and punish the board, or convert tempo into shield damage? And while yes, like that breach it's breach 1. There's better things to do than that. If it's not doing any of those, then you're probably, you know, just looking at a card that's to teach you mechanics, and it's got low impact, and you'll, you know, especially kind of feel like some of the cool spells. If they don't swing a turn, they become upgrade targets pretty fast. So it doesn't really matter here. So, the $1 million question: which starter deck should I buy? Well, if you like mid-game decision making and, you know, pilot pairing, then you're probably going to want to do ST-07. And if you like pressure and clean tempo swings and punishing overdevelopment, then ST-08 is probably it. Honestly, the truth of the matter is going to be this: the believed better deck right now is ST-07. That's not to say that ST-08 is bad. It's just that ST-07 appears to have the best archetype right now, and it has the most support coming in the newest set. So the belief is that it's the better of the 2 decks. Whatever deck you choose, the undisputed truth is going to be that you want to have 2 copies of the deck, just so you have all the cards that you need. You're going to end up with some bulk. You can maybe trade those for stuff that you want, because these decks are probably going to sell out if they haven't already sold out. So that's the undisputed truth. You're going to want 2 of them. In my opinion, I think you should go with ST-07 if you're looking to jump right in to having like an archetype that's going to be supported by the set. Maybe ST-08 if you want to try to mesh these new cards in with older sets. Just my opinion. All right, and there you have it. That's the deck profile of the two decks. If you want to follow up with the first 10 spots for each deck once this kind of meta solidifies, drop a comment, ST-07 or ST-08, of which one that you're looking to, trying to build. A full long form breakdown of other decks and other platforms are on my YouTube. Definitely drop a comment if you like the content. Give it a like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. But until next time, peace.